Hello and welcome to the Ski Racing Podcast Extra with me and that guy who is Mr. Tord Nilsson. And we are back again to discuss the upcoming Winter Olympic Games, which are just around the corner over in Beijing. It's going to be an absolute cracker, and we're here to talk you through some of the action.
We are indeed, Ed. That's right. And today's discipline, or this video's discipline, is we're going to talk Super G, aren't we? And we're going to start with the men's, which is kicking off next week. We're filming this on the last day of January. So it's going to kick off on the 8th of February. It's going to be a cracking race at the Yanqing National Alpine Ski Centre.
I think it's Yanqing, actually. But yeah.
I wish it was my pronunciation. It would be a lot funnier. It would be a lot funnier seeing you on Eurosport talking about it. Anyway, what we're doing in these this like short series of videos is we're looking at each discipline of the men's and women's, and together figuring out who we think might be taking the gold, silver, and bronze. Ed's probably going to be guessing, probably getting it wrong, but at least we all know what not to bet on.
Exactly, that is. I'm here. I'm providing a service.
Like with the other disciplines, I've got a couple of names to throw at you, Ed. I've got a bit of an Austrian love affair with this discipline, with Odermatt, Meyer and Kriegmeier on my kind of short list, along with Kilde from Norway. What are your vibes?
Don't forget Odermatt Swiss.
That's because my notes are getting worse and worse.
A deliberate mistake.
Well, I'm keeping you on your toes.
Good.
Nonetheless, what are your vibes about those names?
I mean, they're the big players, aren't they? Meyer with his form. Kriegmeier has been very topsy-turvy all year, but he's certainly got the skill set to do something about it. Odermatt, he probably goes into it as favourite, or certainly joint favourite with Kilde, probably. I think it's going to be really tough. A lot of it's going to come down to the course set and the course design to see how it takes in the snow surface. Again, I think it's going to be really, really tight on the men's side, as it tends to be. I really would be surprised if any of the victories in the speed races are done by more than 2/10. I think it's going to be a crazy tight race, just purely because the snow surface is going to be so good, and the athletes are, they're on fire. Odermatt, Kilde, Meyer, Kriegmeier, like you said, the big names, the big hitters in terms of the World Cup standings and all that sort of thing. So I kind of feel like it is going to come from one of those guys. I just think that maybe for me, Kilde might do this one. I feel like it could. I think it's a coin toss between him and Odermatt for this one.
So it's going to be really tough. Is there any other names that kind of you would chuck into the mix as well? But
it's hard. I mean, Beat Feuz potentially. I mean, Normally you wouldn't see him on the Super G as a main player, but he's certainly done well so far this season. Raphael Haase skied well so far this season. Ryan Cochran-Siegel, that's a guy that you can't discount. He's coming back to it after that horrendous injury a year ago in Kitzbühel, and he's been finding his feet. He's struggling for consistency slightly with his switch from the Rossis to the heads, as well as coming back from that injury. So you'd say that he's probably got a good shot, and I think he'll enjoy that snow surface. He's got, that sort of dry, artificial snow tends to be what it's normally. It wasn't this year, but normally like in Beaver Creek, and so the Americans have got plenty of time skiing on that sort of snow surface. So he could be like a wild card, sort of a wild card pick, if you like, somebody from outside the very, very top in terms of what you look at in a general Super G from day to day. But he's got the skill set. I'm not sure we're going to see anything from like the tech guys coming up, like Pantero, who normally does quite well in Super G. But then it's having not had the test event, it makes it really difficult because you're not sure which type of Super G skier this is going to suit, because some Super Gs suit the downhillers and some Super Gs suit the giant slalom skiers. Having seen a bit of some of the skiing that the guys are doing on the slope at the moment out there, as well as some of the pre-Olympic videos that they put out, sort of explaining where everything is. It's one of those that looks like it's going to be quite technical, which is where I kind of feel that maybe Odermatt and Kilder, because Kilder's a very technical. I mean, he hasn't done a lot of GS this season, but when he does put the GS skis on, he's right. He's in top 10, top 5.
Yeah.
So he's very technical Super G skier at the same time, which is why I kind of feel like it might go down towards those guys as opposed to like Foyts and Paris on that side of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Super G skiers.
Definitely. And with the artificial snow and everything that comes with that, and the fact there's been no test events, how much pressure does that put on the technicians and how they service those skis and set them up for the athlete?
I mean, there's always a lot of pressure on the technicians because obviously if you get it wrong, then it doesn't matter how quick the skier is. If you mess the skis up, they won't win. Simple. So, but I think there's enough time with hill skiing that the guys have been doing over the last couple of days out there. So they've already skied, depending on when you guys watched this, yesterday, and they're skiing it today, and then the 3 training runs that they're supposed to get. There's going to be enough time on that surface for the technicians to figure out exactly what wax is going to work on there, because they'll be testing that out. They'll be testing that out in hill skiing. They'll be testing that out even in inspection. They'll be having the technicians will be up there just feeling what the skis feel on the snow, and then all the training runs they'll be testing out a bunch of different stuff. So the technicians, I think, will get on it pretty quickly, but it's about the athlete, I think, adapting to the snow surface and a new hill and a new course set, which is going to be the make or break. The technicians have got enough sort of weapons in their arsenal that they just have to pick out the right one before they just and apply it almost.
Oh, cool. No, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anybody else you want to chuck in the mix before we ask you for your final pick?
No, I was just looking through the list. It's really hard to look past the main players, I think. And like I say, I think it's going to be a coin toss between Kilder and Odermatt. And as I went for Odermatt in the downhill, I'm going to go Kilder.
You're going to go Kilder. I'm going to agree with you and go Kilder as well. But I think generally what we can say is it's going to be a super tight race.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Nice of you to pick a different person. Trust me. I like the trust that you've got.
It happens very rarely, so don't get used to it.
It warms my heart knowing that you trust me.
I'm glad I can warm that heart. Anyway, we will be back shortly with the women's. Now we are back to talk the women's Super G. Ed, I've got four skiers of the big ones again, 3 Italians, Brignoni, Catoni, and Goggia, and maybe gut-behrami. Is there anybody else? What are you thinking about that?
I tend to agree with you in terms of that list of names. Brignoni leads the standings in World Cup standings in Super G. She won at the weekend. She's certainly on form. She won whilst she was under the weather as well. She was going through a bit of a tummy bug and hadn't, said anyway in the press that she hadn't eaten for 4 days. So she won even doing that. Gut-behrami's been doing well, but obviously not around. Corinne Suter has picked up podiums as well. You can't look, beyond her. Ragnhild Mowinckel picked up a good result in Cortina, and Michaela Shiffrin is Michaela Shiffrin, so she could win if she puts on her skis. So it's really difficult to try and figure that out. And also at the weekend, you had Connie Hooter joint win, or tied first with Brignoni. So another person that's absolutely on form at the moment and skiing really well. So it's another name. I'd say this is probably the most open in terms in women's events. I'm just trying to think, because the other events you've got main players that you go, those are probably they're going to be the ones that win. I think the Super G is really wide open because we've listed, you listed the 3 Italians, then you've got Tippler, who's been on the podium for Austria a bunch of times this season, Gut-behrami, Suter, Shiffrin, Mowinckel, Hooter now as well. So you've got so many names, and then you've got the tech skiers, because obviously we talked about it in the men's thing about how it's going to be quite a technical piece, and we've seen Tessa Worley pick up a 5th or 6th, was it, in Zalkensee, and you've got Alice Robinson, who's obviously started to ski a bit more Super G, and she's got the skills to mix it on any day. Michelle Gissin, who
they're
picked
kind of
up
wild
a podium
cards,
as well.
though, to be honest, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, I think they. I mean, in terms of the pure favourites, yeah, they aren't there. But like I said, I just think the Super G is so wide open for the women. It's going to be really, really difficult to try and pick a winner, because I'm not even sure that you could predict a podium. You know, like in slalom or GS, you could probably pick the podium. Yeah. I mean, the winner and second place might change slightly, but in this, I think you'd struggle to pick a podium, just because of, again, form going in. Goggia, she will have, or she'll be wanting to. She's probably got her eyes more on the downhill, hasn't she? So whether she would risk racing hard enough in the Super G that may compromise her downhill, which is arguably her best chance at winning, that's going to play to a part in terms of her recovery from this injury as well. So there's just so many bits in the mix here.
There's also that element that this is the Olympics. So you almost have a different mindset, don't you? As an athlete going in, taking one gold medal or any medal, to be honest, is obviously incredible, but you become almost such an icon if you can take two. Right? Yeah, such a bigger deal than anything else almost, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be a really exciting one. Definitely.
Agreed. So it kicks off on Tuesday, the 8th of February. So it's pretty early on in the Olympics. I think with the Olympics starting on the 4th, or opening ceremony, sorry, on the 4th. So that's going to be really exciting to see. But I do need a name. No,
it's the 11th. I knew you got that wrong. That's your next. That's your other one. That's, you've made a few boo-boos in the other videos, but then it's the 11th of February.
Oh, sorry. The 8th is the men's.
Yes, Todd, you're on a roll, my son.
I'm on a terrible roll. An absolute terrible roll. It is the 11th.
Yeah.
But I do need a name from you nonetheless.
Okay, I think this could be. I think this is Brinoni's best chance at a medal, so I think that she is going to be going at this one and really focusing in on this one. So I think that she is going to do the business. Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be a tight, a tight race, maybe this is when Shiffrin can come through. Maybe I'll just go for a wild card and say maybe this is when Shiffrin can get it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We've seen her win in World Cup Super G and downhill before, and there's, like I said, I think this is going to be a really technical. I mean, it'll depend on who ends up setting, but I think it's going to be one of those that's going to be a real one that's going to suit technical skiers. So I think, that's not a bad shout.
All right. Okay. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And we will be back with another discipline to you very soon. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.